What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ravi Wadden, and in today's video, I want to talk about the 0.99% APR financing that Tesla is offering on the Model Y. But specifically, I want to compare financing this Tesla Model Y at 0.99% or 1.99% if you're doing 72 months to leasing a Tesla Model Y. Because historically, I've always felt that for me personally, leasing a Tesla Model Y was a better option than financing a Tesla Model Y. But to be completely honest with you guys, 0.99% APR financing definitely makes buying this Tesla Model Y more appealing. But in my opinion, it really comes down to how long you plan on keeping the Tesla Model Y. If you plan on keeping it long term, 5, 6, 7, 8 years or longer, then financing the Tesla Model Y is probably the right option. But if you want to keep the car for 3 years or less, then I think leasing the Tesla Model Y is still the way to go. So what we'll do in this video is we'll compare the monthly finance payments on a Tesla Model Y using the 0.99% financing and the 1.99% rate at 72 months to the monthly lease payments with the same amount of money down. And then in the second part of this video, I want to show you guys how much money you'd save with Tesla's promotional interest rates of 1.99% for 72 months and 0.99% for 60 months versus their typical interest rate, which is 6.49%. And then in the last part of this video, I want to share with you guys why I would personally still lease a Tesla Model Y. So if that sounds good to you, please don't forget to like this video and please don't forget to subscribe or follow. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into the computer. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on Tesla's website. As you can see, they have a 0.99% APR financing offer. And Tesla recently changed this. The 0.99% only applies to the 60-month loan term. The 72-month loan term is now 1.99%, which is not bad, but it's not 0.99%. Now here in the configurator, what I'll do is look at the long-range all-wheel drive and we'll look at the cash price of this car. And if we uncheck these federal savings and gas savings, it has an MSRP of $47,990. Now what we're going to do is actually click down here on this hyperlink, which will bring up this configurator. Now as you can see, if we were to finance this car with a $3,000 down payment, a 72-month term, and using a promotional credit rating and an estimated APR of 1.99%, my estimated payment would be $684 a month, and then they want to subtract the federal tax credit of $7,500 and $100 a month for gas savings. And after probable savings, you're at $480 a month. I'm just going to add $100 back into this because I don't want to assume the $100 gas savings, but I do want to assume the $7,500 EV tax credit. So you're looking at a monthly payment of $480 plus $100 of $580 a month. Now, like I said earlier, if you're planning on keeping this car long-term for 5 years or longer, then I think paying the $580 a month is a good deal, especially when you're getting an awesome interest rate of 1.99%. But as you'll see, ladies and gentlemen, you can still lease this Tesla Model Y with an MSRP of $47,990 with a down payment of $3,000, which is identical to the finance option, a loan term or a lease term of 36 months, annual mileage of 10,000 miles, and your estimated lease payment is $429 a month, which is approximately $150 lower than the finance payment at 72 months and 1.99%. So I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that leasing is the best option, but I think for me, someone who doesn't keep their cars long term, and I don't want to keep this Model Y long term for a bunch of reasons that I'm going to get into later in this video, for me, leasing is still the better option, and it's still a fantastic lease deal in terms of value. And if we go back to financing this car, you'll see that if I change the term from 72 months to 60 months, the APR does lower to 0.99%, and my payment does increase. Now after probable savings, you're looking at about $568 a month, so I'm going to add the $100 back in. So a monthly payment of about $668 a month if you were to finance this Model Y at 0.99% for 60 months. Now in this part of the video, what I want to do is show you guys how much money you actually save with Tesla's promotional APR offer if you do 60 months at 0.99% and 72 months at 1.99% versus their standard tier 1 interest rate, which is 6.49%. 6.49%. Now let's go ahead and use the 72-month term as an example for this video. And what we're going to do is use an auto price of $40,490, and that's the $47,990 MSRP. And I subtracted $7,500 from that amount to account for the EV tax credit. I used a 72-month term, and I used a 6.49% interest rate because that's Tesla's standard Tier 1 interest rate. I used a down payment of $3,000, and I used a tax rate of 10% because I live in Seattle, Washington. And I also included title, registration, and other fees, which equates to $2,300. And when I hit calculate, I get a monthly payment of $736.72. Now, the interesting thing here is that when you look at the loan breakdown, principal versus interest, you'll see that I paid $43,839 in principal, and then I paid $9,204.97 in interest over the 72-month term. Now I want to compare this to having an interest rate of 1.99%, so I use the exact same inputs. The only thing I changed is using a interest rate of 1.99% instead of 6.49%, and as you can see, the monthly payment drops to $646.45, and it was $736.72. But the more interesting thing is that the interest that I pay over the 72 months dramatically reduces to just $2,705 over 72 months versus $9,204 over 72 months. And if we were to change this 72-month loan term at a 6.49% interest rate to 60 months, you'll see that my payment increases to $857 a month, and my total interest paid over 60 months is $7,614. And if I go to the other promotional calculator, I can change this to 0.99%, and I'll change the loan term to 60 months. And you'll see that a 60-month loan at 0.99%, the payment is just $749 versus a whopping $857 a month. But more importantly, look at this. You only pay $1,112 in interest over 60 months at 0.99% versus paying $7,614 in interest at a rate of 6.49%. So ladies and gentlemen, if you've been thinking about financing or buying a Tesla Model Y, I think right now is a great time to do that because it's not very often that Tesla offers 0.99 or 1.99% APR financing, especially with interest rates as high as they are. But for me personally, I'm still leasing this car, and here's why. The first reason is electric vehicle depreciation. Look, EVs, as much as I like them and as much as people watching this video probably like them because you're probably into Teslas, there is no doubt that electric vehicles are depreciating at a faster rate than their internal combustion engine counterparts. And I personally just hate dealing with unknown depreciation, and I think leasing this car is a great value, so for that reason, I would lease this car. The second reason I would personally lease this car is that there is a new Model Y that should be released by the end of the year, maybe sooner, maybe a little bit later. But anyways, there is a new Model Y on the horizon. Now, if you guys follow Tesla, you know that the new Model 3 just came out, and the Model Y is built essentially on the same platform. So the Model Y is on the horizon, and if I bought this car, I plan on keeping it long term, and I don't want to buy a car right before the new model comes out. And when the new version of this new Model Y comes out, this model is going to be less desirable, and I also think that is going to hurt the depreciation rate of this car, making leasing a more enticing option, at least for me. Now, the third reason that I would lease this car is because of Tesla price cuts. Now, as many of you know, Tesla is on a mission to sell their cars for as low of a price as possible. They're trying to make their car and battery manufacturing process more efficient, and they're just always looking for ways to lower the price of their cars, while the rest of the industry, if you look at a Honda Accord, for example, the prices of them keep going up year after year, but Tesla prices keep going down year after year, and that's another reason that I would personally lease a Tesla. Because the last thing I want to deal with is buying this car at 0.99% interest rate financing, and then, 3 months from now, 4 months from now, Tesla lowers the price of these cars even more by $5,000 or $6,000, and then I have to deal with, not only have to deal with the depreciation of the rapid depreciation of this car, but I also have to deal with price cuts, which will further which will further increase the rate of depreciation on this car. Now, as I said before, if you plan on buying this car and holding it long term, I think 0.99 and 1.99% APR financing is a great option. But for me, I'm still leasing this car. Now, if you have any questions about what I've talked about in this video, please let me know in the comment section below and I'll be sure to get back to you. But with that, I'm gonna call it a video. Financial knowledge is power. Please like and follow for more.